What if YouTube went away? Would world events receive less coverage? Imagine waking up tomorrow. You grab your phone. You open your browser and to our shock, and YouTube is gone. No breaking footage, no live streams from war zones. No viral clips exposing corruption. No eyewitness videos tell the truth before they hit the headlines. Just silence. In a world where YouTube has quietly become the largest unofficial news network on Earth, what happens when it disappears overnight? Will world events still reach us? Or will the truth disappear from the play button? Welcome to Specvio, where we don't just ask what if, we follow it to the end. In the first few hours after YouTube goes down, there's no chaos, no riots, no emergency alerts, no public outcry. Most people assume it's just a technical glitch. They refresh the app, they close it and reopen it. They switch from Wi-Fi to mobile data. Some restart their phones. Others go to Twitter or Google, and the headlines seem calm. YouTube is temporarily unavailable. Asterisk. Engineers are investigating the issue. Asterisk, so people wait. But as minutes turn into hours, something subtle begins to change. When a major event occurs somewhere in the world, a protest, a natural disaster, a shattering political moment, people naturally look for videos, not articles, not official statements, video. And that's where the trouble begins. Because for more than a decade, YouTube hasn't just been a place to watch news. It's a place where news is verified, watching shaky footage from a phone. Watching events unfold in real time, hearing real voices instead of polished scripts. That visual evidence made events feel real. Now without YouTube, something feels missing. Stories start to circulate, but there's no footage to back them up. No raw clips, no live streams, no eyewitness uploads. Everything exists only as text, and text feels lonely, fragile, because words can be edited, reframed, taken out of context. In those first 24 hours, panic doesn't come from silence. It comes from uncertainty. People realize that they no longer see the world as it is. They are being told about it. And once that realization sets in, trust begins to break down. The struggle for truth. When YouTube disappears, the flow of information doesn't stop, it breaks down. Viewers, journalists, and everyday users immediately begin to look for alternatives. The instinct to watch events rather than just read about them remains strong. Without YouTube as a central hub, this instinct pulls people in too many different directions at once. The rise of fragmented platforms, short-form platforms, especially TikTok, are experiencing a rapid surge in activity. Users are uploading clips at an unprecedented rate, trying to fill the void left by YouTube. However, these videos are often incomplete. Short, isolated moments without background or context, edited fragments that lack continuity. 15-second clips capture chaos but not clarity. While these fragments travel quickly, they rarely provide clarity. Instead of understanding what happened, audiences piece together disjointed moments, often drawing conclusions based on emotion rather than evidence. At the same time, smaller video-sharing platforms are seeing a sudden surge. Servers are straining under the new traffic, and creators are rushing to upload content. Yet these platforms lack the infrastructure, moderation systems, and global reach that allowed YouTube to verify sources and surface credible footage on a large scale. As a result, false or misleading content spreads easily, often unchecked. The crisis facing traditional media, traditional news organizations have suffered equally. For years, journalists have relied on YouTube as a key secondary reporting tool. Eyewitness videos, raw footage on the ground, and multiple camera angles have allowed reporters to quickly and independently verify details. Timestamps, geolocation cues, and visual consistency helped establish credibility before a story went live. Without access to this vast repository of user-generated evidence, newsrooms suddenly face blind spots. Reporters must now rely more heavily on official statements from governments or institutions, limited field reporters, often unable to reach remote or dangerous locations, second-hand accounts that take longer to verify. This slows down the entire news cycle. When momentum is lost, rumors gain momentum. As journalism becomes more cautious and delayed, a dangerous vacuum opens up. Information still spreads, but not necessarily the truth. Unverified claims are circulating rapidly on social media. Screenshots replace footage. Anonymous posts replace named sources. Without a widely trusted video platform to verify or challenge these narratives, rumors reach millions before corrections are even apparent. In this environment, the loudest or most emotionally charged story gains traction, not the most accurate. A fractured information landscape. The disappearance of YouTube transforms the internet from a shared viewing experience into a fractured maze of competing claims. Instead of millions of people witnessing the same footage, audiences consume entirely different versions of events depending on where they watch. The result is confusion, distrust, and growing polarization. The quest for truth doesn't fail because people stop looking. It fails because the tools they once relied on to verify reality no longer exist. The global event blind spot, as the information ecosystem struggles to adapt, a more serious consequence emerges, one that is not immediately visible but deeply damaging. Major world events begin to go unnoticed. For years, YouTube has served as an early warning system for global crises. Footage of ordinary people emerges before journalists can reach the scene. Protests, humanitarian emergencies, military escalations, and environmental disasters are often revealed through user-generated videos uploaded in real time. Without YouTube, this ground-level visibility disappears. Loss of immediate, on-the-ground evidence. In many regions, especially conflict zones or remote areas, traditional news organizations do not have consistent access. Reporters may be limited by security concerns, government controls, or logistical constraints. In these cases, citizen footage has historically filled the gap. When YouTube went live, events rely entirely on official narratives. The delay before international attention is drawn increases. Some stories never come to light. If there is no visual record, it is easy to ignore, deny, or minimize events. The human cost of being invisible beyond the headlines. What really gets lost are the personal stories. Videos recorded by individuals, families documenting devastation, citizens sharing their fears in real time, communities pleading for help, have long been essential for building empathy. These human perspectives turn remote crises into shared experiences. Without them, suffering becomes abstract. Emotional engagement is diminished. Public pressure for a humanitarian response is weakened. Aid organizations often rely on viral visibility to mobilize resources. When footage disappears, the urgency is lost. The power of unfiltered visual evidence. Raw video has a unique authority. Unlike written statements or edited reports, unfiltered footage compels accountability. It allows viewers to see events unfold without narration or framing. When that evidence disappears, it puts a powerful check on power. Governments and institutions face less scrutiny. Disputed events become harder to verify. Historical records become thinner, shaped more by official documents than by lived experience. The world keeps turning, but parts of it become invisible. The echo chamber effect. As the shared space for global video disappears, the information landscape begins to fracture in more subtle but dangerous ways. Without YouTube's vast and diverse ecosystem, people don't accidentally encounter opposing viewpoints. Instead, they retreat into platforms and communities that reflect what they already believe. The intensity of information silos. YouTube, despite its flaws, exposes users to a wide range of content news clips. Independent commentary, eyewitness footage, and international perspectives often appear side by side. This accidental exposure has helped challenge assumptions and introduce competing narratives. When YouTube is gone, people rely on fewer platforms. Algorithms narrow perspectives rather than broaden them. Content quickly conforms to existing beliefs. The result is the hardening of ideological bubbles. Audiences no longer argue over the same evidence. They consume vastly different versions of reality. Acceleration of misinformation. In a fragmented environment, misinformation spreads more easily. Without a dominant platform hosting long-form evidence and full-length footage, misinformation faces fewer obstacles. Short clips and simple narratives travel faster than careful analysis. Emotional content outperforms factual content. Corrections arrive late, if at all. Without a clear counter-narrative, false claims gain legitimacy through repetition. Impact on social and civic movements. Many modern movements have gained traction through video. Protests, whistleblower footage, and self-testimony often reach global audiences because YouTube has provided scale and consistency. In its absence, grassroots movements struggle to gain visibility. Momentum wears off more quickly. Building international solidarity becomes more difficult. Movements that once relied on visual evidence must now rely solely on text and claims, making them easier to dismiss. 5. Rebuilding the information highway over time. The digital world begins to adapt. History shows that when a major platform disappears, alternatives eventually emerge. New services try to replicate YouTube's role, while others try to improve on it. The search for sustainable alternatives, entrepreneurs and technologists race to build alternative platforms. Some focus on decentralization, others on creator ownership or transparency. However, rebuilding trust is proving to be much harder than building the technology. Audiences ask difficult questions. Who verifies the content? Who controls moderation? Who decides what reaches millions? Without clear answers, adoption remains fragmented. The role of decentralized media, blockchain-based platforms and peer-to-peer networks are gaining traction. These systems promise censorship resistance and greater transparency. Yet they also introduce challenges: limited use, technical barriers, and conflicting verification standards. Decentralization can reduce control, but it does not automatically guarantee truth. Lasting lesson: as ecosystems stabilize, a truth becomes clear. YouTube was not just a video sharing service. It was a global infrastructure for witnessing events as they happened. Its value was not always clear, but its absence makes its role undeniable. YouTube's disappearance shows how modern society has come to depend on a few invisible systems to understand reality. Closing thoughts: the loss of YouTube will not silence the world, but it will make truth harder to see, slower to verify, and easier to distort. And in this delay, in this uncertainty, power quietly reshapes the story. Rebuilding the information highway. History shows that when a major system breaks, it eventually takes its place. YouTube is no different after it disappeared. At first, the internet feels broken. Information is fragmented, trust is low, and no single platform feels trustworthy. But over time, new ideas begin to take shape. Developers, journalists, activists, and creators all try to rebuild what was lost, sometimes by copying YouTube, sometimes by trying to improve on it. The rise of new models. Many alternatives begin to emerge, each solving part of the problem but none solving everything at once. Decentralized platforms appear first. Instead of being controlled by a single company, these systems distribute content across many servers or users. In theory, this reduces censorship and centralized control. No single authority can remove videos or silently change algorithms. At the same time, peer-to-peer collaboration is becoming more common. Videos are shared directly between users rather than being uploaded to a central platform. This allows footage to spread even in areas where there are restrictions or closures, preserving access during a crisis. At the same time, blockchain-based media archives are gaining traction. These systems store videos with permanent timestamps and digital signatures, making it difficult to alter or delete the footage. Once a video is recorded, its existence can be publicly verified forever. Together, these tools promise transparency, resilience, and resistance to manipulation. Why it takes years to rebuild trust. However, technology alone does not build trust. YouTube spent years building its reputation, not because it was perfect, but because it was familiar, widely used, and deeply embedded in everyday life. Viewers have learned who to trust, who to question, and where to look for verification. Newer platforms lack that history. People ask important questions. Who verified this footage? Could it be manipulated? Is this platform trustworthy or biased? Will it still exist tomorrow? Until these questions are consistently answered, audiences remain wary. Journalists are hesitant to rely on unfamiliar systems. Governments question their legitimacy. Viewers struggle to know what is real. Trust, once broken, is not easily restored. A lesson from absence: as the information highway slowly rebuilds, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. YouTube was never just a video platform. It served as a global witness, allowing ordinary people to document events as they unfolded. It served as a digital memory, preserving moments that might otherwise be forgotten, denied, or erased. And it served as a frontline camera for the public, giving visibility to voices that traditional media often misses. Its disappearance reveals some unease. Our access to reality, our ability to see, verify, and remember the world is far more fragile than we think. It depends on systems that we rarely notice, until they break. When people imagine YouTube disappearing, they probably think of entertainment. No music videos, no vlogs, no tutorials. But this thought experiment reveals something deeper. Because YouTube has quietly become one of the most important structures of truth in the modern world. Not because it was perfect, not because it was impartial, but because it allowed millions of ordinary people to show what they were watching in real time without waiting for permission. It didn't just distribute information. It distributed evidence. And when it disappears, reality itself becomes exchangeable. Without a shared visual record, it's easy to deny events. It's hard to challenge power. It's easy to rewrite history. The world doesn't stop working. But it becomes harder to prove what's going on inside. Core sense high retention moment. The most dangerous thing about losing YouTube is not censorship. It's uncertainty. When people can no longer see events for themselves, they then stop searching for the truth. They stop agreeing on what the truth looks like. And once that happens, control quietly slips away from the public. This scene is really the source of great concern for people about YouTube. It's about how fragile our access to reality is. What we believe depends on systems that we rarely question. And how quickly clarity disappears when those systems go dark. That's why what if matters, because the future rarely announces itself. It just removes what we thought we could always rely on. This is Specvio, where we explore the hidden consequences behind the world we perceive. If this got you thinking, subscribe to Specvio for more what-if scenarios that challenge how power, technology, and truth really work. And be sure to leave a comment below. If YouTube disappeared tomorrow, where would you go to decide what's real? Until next time, keep asking questions. And yes, don't be too late to subscribe. Thanks.